What's up, Spartans? We're back in the kitchen today doing some food prep. We got Angie along with us again. So what do you got for us today, Angie?
Well, as I'm thinking about, like you've been working a lot of late nights and not home for dinner, and so it's hard not to have, and I want to have something for you, but I don't want to grill a steak for you that sits, that we heat up in the microwave. So I got to thinking meatloaf. You like meatloaf, and some people were like, oh, meatloaf. I actually have been making this meatloaf recipe for more than 30 years. It's my mom's recipe, but I've tweaked it over time. And I guess I say that because if you have any recipes that you like or that you've liked as a kid, there's probably healthier ways we can make them if they happen to be something that's maybe not fitting in with your macros currently. So that's what I've done. So about 8 years ago, I tried cutting out a majority of the gluten in what we were eating. And so I've substituted, instead of crackers or breadcrumbs, I've substituted chickpeas. These are just 100% chickpeas, it is all it is. And it's really the consistency of a panko breadcrumb. So you could use it to do, chicken tenders or whatever. So what we're gonna do is I have 1.5 pounds of 93% lean ground beef in here. And all I'm gonna add to that is I've got 2 teaspoons of Italian herb meat seasoning, and we'll post the recipe. So I have 2 teaspoons of that. I've got in this little cup 1 teaspoon of salt and about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, just plain black pepper. You would use about 1/2 cup of onions, chopped onions. My mom was not an onion fan, so she always used minced onion in hers. So I just didn't have any onions, but you could use minced onion. It'd be about 2 tablespoons of minced onion.
Not quite as bad on the eyes when you're cutting them.
Yeah, that's true.
So real quick, on the 93% lean meat, okay? We got that at Hy-Vee.
Yep.
Could you substitute that with ground turkey?
Yeah, I think you could. If you do, we're gonna need to get a little more liquid in there because that turkey is gonna be more lean and it will dry out. So if that's something you want to do, I would suggest adding the onions, for sure, real onions, or you can chop up bell pepper. Think of some vegetables you could chop up that have a lot of water in them already, really small, just to it'll add a little bit more texture, a little more flavor, but it'll add a little more liquid to that turkey.
And the actual fact of it is this beef is actually leaner than most ground turkey. So 93% lean beef is still leaner than ground turkey. So beef is a great option.
So 1/2 cup of these panko breadcrumbs.
Which these panko breadcrumbs are chickpeas, and we looked at a number of different ingredients when we were at the store. These ingredients is one, organic chickpeas, that's it, okay, only one ingredient. So a couple of the other ones that we looked at had a bunch of other stuff added into them, so that's why we picked these chickpeas.
Yep, and then just to give it a little flavor, I think some people probably add ketchup to their meatloaf or whatever. So ketchup has a lot of sugar in it. So if you use sriracha, if you're somebody that likes things spicy, and you can limit obviously how much you use. I'm gonna use probably a little less than 2 tablespoons. There's no calories, there's no fat, there's no carbohydrates, but it has a ton of flavor. So it's a great condiment if you're somebody who likes spicy food and needs a little bit of seasoning. So I'll add that. And then all I'm gonna do is I have 2 eggs beaten here. And so I'll add that. Maybe if you want to talk, I'm going to mix this up with my hands. I washed my hands right before we started, but using your hands is the easiest way to do it.
Okay, so what we're going to use this for is this could be a meal that we would have later tonight. Kind of in our meal plan, what we've done is we built in a night for us to enjoy pizza. We do enjoy a gluten-free pizza, but we build it into our plan. So for us tonight, this is going to be cooked. Angie's gonna bake this, and then we're gonna save it for later on in the week. The great things about meatloaf and some meats that have a little bit more fat in them compared to a chicken breast is when you heat them up, they don't get as dried out, okay? So that fat keeps the moisture in it a little bit better. It's real easy to heat it up and still have a lot of flavor into it.
Yep.
Going back to the fact that we have pizza on our Sunday nights, you can too. No matter what your goal is, you just gotta make sure that, as we always talk about, is build a strategy to make sure that you have it allotted into your calories.
Okay, so all I've done then is I've got everything mixed up. I just sprayed, this is a regular size loaf pan. I've just sprayed, that's actually coconut spray or Pam or whatever you happen to use. So just spray your pan, and then you're just gonna place the meatloaf in the pan. You're gonna wanna try to make it, you don't need to pack it in there because it will actually kind of make it a little, you wanna keep it sort of loose, but yet you don't want it to have a bunch of gaps in it. So Just simply pat it in your pan, like so, and we're gonna bake it at 350 for 1 hour.
Okay.
And that's it.
350 for 1 hour and it's ready to go.
Yep, one other thing I would say. So another option my mom always did, in the summer if she made meatloaf, she just would take this now and make it into 6 patties and grill it on the grill. And so then you've got a meatloaf as a patty. So if you're somebody like me who likes the ends, it's like having it crunchy all the way around, but that's another option.
That's another option. So we had also talked this weekend about some sides that may go with this.
Yeah.
So what are a couple easy sides? We had talked about sweet potatoes that we haven't shared with them.
Yep.
We don't necessarily have the ingredients to show you, but Angie's gonna walk you through real quick what you could do with the sweet potato to add it as a different size side. You could always heat it up in the microwave. You could always do it in the oven as a whole, but we have this other little way that she prepares them that adds a little bit different flavor into them. So can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so just, and maybe we should show it some week, but just take a couple large sweet potatoes, depending on how many you need, and you dice it up about the size of the vegetables that we did a few weeks ago. So about bite-sized pieces. And all we're gonna do is dice those up. We're gonna have a cookie sheet. We're gonna melt a couple tablespoons of butter, throw those sweet potatoes on there, sprinkle it with chili powder, just a little bit of brown sugar, and then toss that together and roast it in the oven at about 400 for about 15 minutes. But it kind of gives the consistency and the flavor of like sweet potatoes with marshmallows without all the sugar and all the marshmallows and everything. So and they reheat really well.
Yep.
So.
And the other thing is, when you do cut those up, you're keeping the skins on them.
Correct. I
right?
keep the skins
So
on.
keeping the skins on them is going to keep that fiber count in those sweet potatoes a little bit higher. So that's a little bit of how we like to eat meatloaf. Something that we're prepared for the rest of the week. Anything else to add, Ange?
No, I don't think so.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. If you have anything that you would like to see us prepare next week, please let us know on that as well. We'd love to make it for you. I hope you guys have a great Sunday, and until next time, no high fives. She's got dirty hands. Have a good day.
Bye.